to become our own masters of faith. And I think so many of us are lacking in that. And until we find that, we will never find peace within ourselves and be afforded the greatness that Maitreya states.
Well, Maitreya puts it very simply. He says the simplest way, my way, the simplest way. He says, practice three things. Honesty of mind. And he says most people think one thing, say another, and then do something else again. There is no direct line from what they think to what they do. So practice honesty of mind. 2, sincerity of spirit. Sincerity of spirit, he says, is like when you talk with a dear, dear old friend whom you can feel you can say anything to, from whom you hold nothing back, and whom you can be completely and utterly honest yourself and not be afraid to be so. And the other thing, the third thing, is detachment. Become detached. Do not. Mankind is threefold. He is physical, he is emotional or astral, and he is mental. But we attach our sense of ourselves to, first, the physical plane. We look in the mirror and say, that's me, there's Mr. Creme there. And there is no Mr. Creme in the mirror, it's just a vision you see in a mirror. If it wasn't just pure glass, you would see nothing. But it's a mirror, so it reflects back what you look like. But what you look like is not you. Every time we look at a mirror and say, oh, I'm getting old. You look under your eyes. As another 5 years have gone, I'm approaching 50. Oh dear. Or if it's a woman, I'm 35. I'm getting older. I'm nearly 40. Oh, how awful, terrible. It seems the end. People think it's the end. It's not the end until it's the end. You don't die until you die. When I was 18, a man told me I had a lot of talent as a painter, but he said, you'll be dead by the time you're 40. And I said, 40? Hallelujah! I went through the list of painters I knew from what I know about the great painters of the world. And half of them are dead by the time they were 40. But a few of them went on, of course, but some of the very best died when they were 30 or 29, 27 even, and so on. And I said, I have such a long time to paint and paint before I'm 40. But I didn't believe him, which is a good thing, because if you believe you're going to die at 40 and you're coming up to 39, you begin to wonder, is that true, And then you get afraid. You have to live unafraid. Unafraid to live and unafraid to die. It's difficult, but you have to do it that way. That's what life is to be lived, and lived boldly and happily. We're here to be happy. How many people let happiness into their lives?
Right.
Very few, because we're so busy seeking happiness.
Exactly. You cannot seek happiness. It doesn't come from anywhere else but inside.
Exactly.
I know we're coming on to the end of the show, but I adore you. I really
Hmm.
do adore you, Benjamin. You know, you speak so
Can
eloquently.
can I have it in writing, please?
Yes,
Yes,
I
you
will send
can.
it to you in writing.
Hey, you have my endorsement.
But the way you speak, I mean, it's so eloquently and it's so um, simply stated, and really, we are we are at the cusp of the awakening, and they talk about 2012 being the beginning of the awakening, and many people thought it was the end of the world. It really was the end of the world as we know it. Now we are seeing the potential of what our world can be, and we're starting to grasp onto that.
Precisely. Absolutely right. And long may it continue.
It,
Sita, I have to go.
yes, I know you do, but I really, really, really appreciate you coming on, and I am going to have you back because I love your message and I love how you speak it.
Yes.
And Maitreya is one of the masters, and I think his message will do nothing but grow. I
He
really
is a
do.
master of all the masters.
Yes,
And
And
they look up to him as we looked up to them. You know?
yes,
absolutely. And I look forward to the day when he reveals himself to us as a man and as a normal man.
Let me just say what will happen. He will, when he is ready to declare himself openly to the world, he will be asked to come and speak to the world openly, not just giving talks on television and so on, but openly,
Hmm.
admittedly, as the Christ.
Yeah.
And he will come on television. The television networks will be linked together throughout the world. They're really there for this event, so that for the first time in history, the world teacher can speak directly to every man, woman, and child in the world.
Hmm.
what an amazing day that will be.
We will, we will be told by our media what time to tune in on television because, by the nature of things in the world, I am trying to get him. I have no power whatsoever, but jokingly, I am trying to get him to do this on a Sunday afternoon in London. You know, because I live in London.
Hmm.
So, but let me put it, I have no power whatsoever. He will do it from, whatever is the best place, which I feel sure is London.
Hmm.
London is his point of focus in the modern world. That's why he's here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And wherever he does it, the networks will be linked together, and at a given time, wherever you live in the world, you will tune in to your set to that time if you want it. Everyone has free will. There will be people who will and go out in the car or in the boat or get under the car and put it together again or anything other than listen to the world teacher. But enormous numbers, millions and millions of people will listen to what Maitreya has to say. But what he has to say will be issued silently.
Hmm.
He will not utter a word, but his thought, his ideas for the future, his ideas that he wants to, his teaching that he wants to impart to humanity, the age of humanity, the long, long time in which we've wandered across this earth together and fought and wrestled and come to this point in our lives. And he will speak to humanity as a brother, the eldest in a family of brothers. because that's exactly how he sees us.
Mm-hmm.
He is the head of a brotherhood, the Master's form of brotherhood, and he sees us as those on the way to becoming a brotherhood, learning from the Masters, and through them forming the brotherhood of men. And so he will speak to us as an elder brother, and his words will enter our minds silently in our own language. So if you're English, you hear him in English. If you're French, in French. If you're Dutch, in Dutch. If you're Chinese, in Chinese. If you're American, in that thing you call English. So on and so on throughout the world. Each of us will hear him in our mother tongue. Whichever is your mother tongue, you will hear his words in that tongue.
How incredible. I can't wait.
This is a miracle of the Day of Declaration.
Yeah.
And while this is taking place, his energy will pour out in tremendous potency. He has said, it will be as if I embrace the whole of humanity. People will feel it even physically. His energy of love will embrace the world. And men and women in their 50s and 60s, heads of government and all the rest of bankers, and all the rest will become like little children. The way children listen to their grandparents.
Yeah.
Not my grandchild listens all that patiently to what I have to say, but he does sometimes. But we will feel as if we are children listening to a wise, old grandfather speaking to us about ourselves, telling us how essentially good we are, how internally perfect we are, what our potential for goodness is, and so on. All of this will take place silently, telepathically. And at the same time, this energy will bind together humanity, and we will hear, he will introduce us to some of the things of the future extraordinary science which that will give to the world, and which will show us how better to live in the world, and a science which will free humanity from drudgery and prepare us for a glorious, unbelievable new concept of life on earth. That is just 2 or 3 years away.
Talk about beauty. I mean, talk about there really are no words other than we just have to be going on with our path and our mission, and as you said before, to be honest in mind, body, and spirit. And once we have all that, and we can honestly say we have that, we will be fine. And we just wait until it all comes together.
Well, we have to act. We have free will. It won't happen by itself.
Right.
This is something I have to say. Maitreya says, nothing happens by itself.
Correct.
Man must act and implement his will. And that is what the people of the world, especially in the Middle East and more and more elsewhere